Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fox Den. Like I said, I promised. And this is going to be one of two videos. This one, well, as you can see, I'm bringing back an old favorite. Mostly because I wanted to restructure the story. So don't blame me. Now, how this new version of the story is going to work is simple. Unlike I did in my original, how I made Navi and the Navi non-existent. Navi are going to exist because this takes place semi-directly after the first game, but I'm actually taking place after the second, so technically the Navi's not around. Technically. Only a technicality. You'll see why later. You'll see why I say it's a technicality. Now then. I'll bring up my notes because I restart my computer, so I don't remember all my notes on top of my head. There we go. Or not. Let me just do that. I'll sign this to this one. But yeah, in this, where is it? No, that's that one. It's a little farther down. Here it is. Cat is basically just not gonna give her. I'm not gonna give her gravity forms like I did in my original. They will pop in eventually if you guys want it. And well, let's begin. Oh yeah, and Hexville is a ruined city, ruined country / city. You'll see in a little bit. Let's begin. We cut to about a couple years before. A couple years before the main events of this story of ours. To All Might, getting a tip about some glowing light in the ruins. They don't know exactly what the ruins are. All they know is that the ruins, at least what looks like to be a city. Things being Hexville, or Hexville, I keep pronouncing how the fuck you pronounce it. All you need to know is an old city. That's all you really need to know, right? So as this would go, other events, All Might would then arrive at this ruin, and he would see something that he finds interesting. He approaches this orb, and he realizes something. This orb has a woman in it, a girl in it. And it looks like this girl it's been curled up in a ball, and as All Might approaches, the ball shatters, letting the girl fall out completely cold and almost lifeless in a way. All Might, being the hero he is, would take initiative, trying to rescue a girl he doesn't even know. Doesn't even know if she's a villain nor a hero. But what he does know that she's the source of this light, and not even he knows what this light is. As events would play out, she would it's like a faint red. He decides to take her to a medical facility. Now, 2 days would pass as this girl awakens, looking around, wondering where she was. As some doctors would come in, seeing her awake, and begin asking her questions about who she is. This girl just lays there, not knowing, well, what's going on. He doesn't really know what's going on. She doesn't really know what's going on. She can't understand them. This girl would just lay there, not understanding the Japanese language. Now some time would pass. The doctors finally get a translator. This translator would then try almost every language he knows until he tries one language that he and his historian friends have been researching for years upon years. Hexville. What they figured out is a mix of different dialects. From Japanese dialect, French dialect, Spanish dialect, and Italian dialects. He would begin speaking this language with very limited knowledge that he has, asking the girl who she is. This girl would then respond with, "My name's Cat. At least, that's what I've always been called." Wait, let me back up real quick. I forgot a line. The doctors finally get a translator. He tries almost language in the book until he says, "I don't think they'll work, but I'll try." And then that's basically what I just explained. The girl's eyes would begin to light with excitement to begin chatting with the translator along the lines of, So may I ask who you are?" "Cat," the girl known as Cat would say. Now this shocked the translator, because while he was learning his very limited knowledge of Hexville, he learned there were stories about her. He read stories about this girl in particular. They called her Cat, the Queen of Gravity. Now he would say this out loud to the doctors, which at that point would shock 90% of them. I mean, come on, who wouldn't? Wouldn't that shock you? Sorry. But it would just go on like that. Now, this would get attention of some people. Most notably, the doctor would then notify All Might, seeing how it was All Might that, picked her up. All Might, being notified of this development, would be insanely intrigued. Because not every day that you meet someone who knows a different language than you. Well, a language that's been dead for who knows how long. It was a shocking development, to say the least. Very shocking for some people. Especially people who build up you're already understanding that Hexville is gone. Hexville is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. But no one at that point dared to tell the girl who told the translator that she was from Hexville. No one dared tell her. What happened in her absence? No one dared tell her. Because come on, would you? Would you tell her at that point? A girl so full of life, so full of purpose. And would you tell her that the place she once called home and saved is gone? Would you tell her that? Because none of the heroes did. They couldn't. They couldn't tell her. They were too afraid. Because they don't know her abilities. They don't know her quirk. The historians keep saying, the translator slash historian keeps telling the heroes that the more All Might, who has come to visit her at this point, thanks to the call to doctors, but All Might would be insisting that we shouldn't tell her due to the fact that she might have a breakdown and start attacking. Since we don't know if Hexville had quirks or not. It hasn't been really stated except for some few storybooks. As the translator slash historian would then say that that's about to change. Thanks to the existence of the Gravity Queen being true. The existence of the Gravity Queen, well, being real, proves that Hexville had quirks, quote unquote. But the translator then sees something peculiar next to Cat, who during this entire time, this past hour of arguments, back and forth between All Might and the translator, has been just looking around, seeing what the hell is happening. That's all. She's just confused, but intrigued. Because come on, would you be as well? Because I know I would. I would be intrigued. I would be intrigued to learn about a girl who's not from our country per se. But at the same time, she is. That's the weird part. But things would go differently. As All Might would then calm down, and the translator finally says that right now, it's better for us to tell her. Better save us a headache down the road. It might hurt her, but we have to. But let me just rephrase it. Now this is when the doctor sees something peculiar next to Cat. This being a cat. An actual cat, not her. But this cat being odd. It doesn't have the skin. It has like some sort of starry fur. That's what's odd about it. That it's not necessarily, how do I say, bad? Because what we do know is that this cat's cat, as from the brief words that the translator can pick up from Cat herself, the girl, not Dusty. Yes, it is Dusty. I mean, why wouldn't it be, right? He would pick up Cat calling the little galaxy cat creature, Dusty. And him reading the stories about, well, the Gravity Queen would then start to question. He would start to question Dusty, saying how he's read stories about Dusty, saying how Dusty is kind of the source of the Gravity Queen's power. In some stories says that she's from a royal bloodline, and some stories says that Dusty is a physical manifestation of her powers that takes form of a cat to help her guide her to the path of righteousness. Yes, it's extremely cliche, but at that point, the historians still don't know anything about Hexville. Hexville is an anomaly to them. They barely even know what they are. What little they do know, though, is that they used to be a really, really competent race. That's what they do know. That's what they do know. Also, I mean, I'm playing a little bit more done in the background, so that's probably why I'm forgetting a lot of things. How can a Churchill pierce a Stug? I'm not going to question it, but okay. But yeah. The historian would then just calm his tits and get All Might to calm his tits as well. As they both would then agree on telling her that about Hexville. As the translator would then say, well, kid, cat, right? Cat would then just nod yes. As the translator would then translate to her, I don't know what to tell you. I know about your city. I know about the stories that have been written about it. About the legends, especially yours. Yours is interesting. The legend of the Gravity Queen is extremely interesting. The Gravity Queen. He would then say, but I'm afraid to tell you this, though. Hexville is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. I'm sorry to tell you this, kid, but your city is gone. That's what I was afraid to tell you. That your city, the one that you grew up with, is no longer there. It's now just a shell of his former self. That's what Hexville is. A shell. And you are the last survivor of it. At least, to our knowledge. There might be someone else like you. I think the stories called her Raven? Great! Cat would then finally speak her first words after a while, saying Raven, Raven, in a really happy-go-lucky tone. This gained the attention of, well, not just All Might, but getting the attention of the translator, saying, and him instantly asking, May I ask, what was your relationship with this Raven girl? If you don't mind. Cat would then respond with, it's okay. She was my bestest friend, even though she didn't like to admit it most of the time. Me and her were extremely close. The translator then began laughing, saying like, oh my, you really are an enigma, aren't you? Cat would be confused, asking what did he mean. The translator would then respond with, "Oh, my apologies, Matt. My apologies, Cat. But a lot of the stories I've read that Raven had romantic feelings for you, but just never had the guts to express it." Cat would then slowly begin going red, as All Might would see this and ask what's going on. As the translator would just say, don't worry about it. It's her thing. You don't get involved. All Might would feel a little angered about that, but he can't really complain. Because it wasn't really his place to ask about what he just did. But it's still not going to stop him. That's for damn sure. All Might would then ask the translator, can you ask her if she would be willing to, well, come into UA once she gets used to this place? The translator would then nod and begin asking the question. Cat would then respond with, if it means I get to save more people, then of course I will. This made the translator happy, and he told her response to All Might. All Might then said, how are we going to teach her proper Japanese? As the translator then would say, I'll take the challenge. I'll take the challenge of teaching her proper Japanese. I am not sure how my son will react, though, for me teaching someone. He doesn't really like me learning. He doesn't even like the fact that I was learning Hexville in the first place. As All Might would ask, who is your son? Oh, my son? His name is Katsuki Bakugo. Yep, that's the big reveal. I actually had that in my notes. I was trying to build up to it. Katsuki Bakugo is the son that they were talking about. But don't get them wrong. Katsuki's still gonna be a fucking jerk. Don't get me wrong. But he's not gonna be a complete fucking douchebag. He'll be a douche whittle, but not a douchebag. Well, sorry, let me explain it better. He's not gonna be a dickbag, but he is gonna be a douche. That's better. Now, a little extra info, just before we go over. I forgot Bakugo's father's name. You guys can tell him down below. It would help me a lot. Thank you. Let's continue now. I'm sure you're tired of me doing pauses. Now, as All Might would then agree with Mr. Mr. Bakugo, saying like, it would be bet. So would you like to take her in then, since you're really the only one that can, well, speak with her? As I keep forgetting the name of Bakugo's father. I'll look it up probably halfway through this, because it's gonna be a fucking long one. Trust me, it's gonna be a fucking long one. I promised you guys something, didn't I? Everything would go on. And, well, yeah. Mr. Bakugo would agree to taking in Cat. Masuru. So there we go, Masuru Bakugo. That's his father. Had to look it up real quick, sorry. But yeah, Masuru would then introduce himself to Cat, saying, my name's Masuru Bakugo. I am a researcher who's almost dedicated my entire life to researching about Hexville. So if you wouldn't mind, can I ask you about questions regarding Hexville. Cat will then just say, I don't mind. Which would make him really happy. As everything would go on and on. Eventually, Cat gets released from the hospital after everything checked out. Mr. Katsuki, Matsuru would then ask, Cat, do you by chance know what your quirk is? This, and what Cat says confirmed Matsuru's theory. I don't know. Cat would respond, I don't know what a quirk is. Is it some sort of sweet? Matsuru would then respond with, no, it's not a sweet. It's not some sort of dessert. It's a power that people are born with nowadays. So it looks like the theory I've been working on is somewhat true. Now the question is, I gotta figure out the connection with the Navi. Cat would then look towards Matsuru saying, the Navi? You know about the Navi? Matsuru then backed down saying like, oh right, I forgot. They're kind of your main enemies, right? The Navi? Damn it. Cat would then just shake up and down, saying like, yes. Navi are her main enemies. As Mr. Bakugo would then say, or Matsuru would then say, yeah, don't need to worry. It was just a theory I had. That the Navi made a deal with a gravity shifter to make peace, and quirks were the result of her sacrifice. I thought for the longest time that you were the one to do the sacrifice. But it might be your friend Raven that made the sacrifice. Cat would just be instinctively sad as Matsuru would say, hey, no crying on me now. No crying on me now, kid. I can't handle any more sadness. Come here. Tell me what's wrong. As Matsuru would then begin comforting Cat on the way to their house. As he gets home, he then tells Cat to wait outside for a bit. I need to talk to my wife about this situation of ours. Cat would nod. He would go in and Mitsuki is there asking where the hell he's been for the past 2 weeks. And Katsuki's already about to end his middle school years, ready to get to high school. Or he's about to enter his high school year. His second year of high school. I guess I have to kind of make a college AU for Cat for them to make sense, because she technically is, I don't know how old. Cat's old, but young at the same time. Master then grabbed the back of his head, saying like, yeah, about that. All my has given me an assignment. Mitsuki was eager to pick up, saying, All Might himself, one of the biggest employers for studies about historical icons and historical myths and everything, hired you? Impossible. It's like, thanks for the encouragement, dear. No problem. I'm just joking. What did he need? Well, he found a extreme historical discoverment. Remember the stories about Hexville that I always told Katsuki? Yes, especially about the Gravity Queen? Well, All Might found her. Wait, what? Yeah, All Might found the Gravity Queen herself. Wait, you're serious? You're joking, right? Dear, when do I ever joke about my discovery? My discoveries? Oh god. Oh no. So, where is she? She's outside currently because as they would just hear a little argument go on outside. As Mitsuki would say, God damn it. It's the little brat. I'm guessing the two found each other. Yeah, it looks like it. As we cut to 5 minutes earlier, with Cat just patiently waiting outside. This is where Bakugo would appear, saying like, Oi! Who are you and why are you waiting outside my house? Cat would hear the voice, look over to Bakugo, who looks similar to her, with the blonde hair and red eyes. Bakugo, seeing her looks, would get initially confused, saying he would then instinctively say, Did the old hag have an affair or something? Are you my sister? And you came to find her? As Bakugo would then think to himself, No, impossible. The old hag's been loyal to Pops for years. But I'll just say 31 years. Yeah. The old hag's been loyal to Pops for 31 years. It's impossible she would have an affair. Then again, she does look my age. Maybe slightly older. Or even slightly younger. It's impossible for her to be younger. So it's probably slightly older. This is confusing me. God damn it, you extra. Stop confusing me. As Cat, confused, would try to make conversation because besides the blonde hair and red eyes, this kid looks similar to Matsuru, the person who was gracious enough to take her in. So we asked Bakugo, are you by chance related to Matsuru Bakugo? Or know him? Bakugo, I'll just say he knows a little bit of Hexville or Hexanese, thanks to his father berating him about wanting to teach him it. Even against Katsuki's wishes, he wanted to teach him. As Bakugo would then pick up on this and like, does she only know Hexanese? Is she? No, impossible. They're dead. All those guys are dead. There's no way. But if it is, I might have met my main hero. Yeah, I'll say Bakugo is a very, very big fan of Cat. Because come on, it would be extremely cute. Bakugo, this hard ass, has a soft spot. He would have an extreme soft spot for Cat in particular, and only really Cat. As stuff would go on, that's when Mitsuki and Matsuru walk out, saying, Bakugo, what the hell are you doing? And don't you dare hurt our guest. slash your new sister. Bakugo then looks to Matsuru and says, "You guys are explaining to Pops." It's like, what do you mean, Katsuki? Like, first, who the hell is she? Well, Bakugo, how do I explain this? I know she had no Japanese, thanks to a little bit. I can understand it, but I can't really speak it. You didn't teach me that much. Yeah, I know, Bakugo. You just refuse to learn, but I think you might like to learn now. What do you mean? I mean, the stories with the Gravity Queen? Yeah? They're true. Wait, so you're telling me that this girl is the Gravity Queen? Yep. Bakugo didn't just kind of faint. Mitsuki didn't say, "I knew that was gonna happen. You owe me $10, dear." God damn it. The one time our son is happy to see one of his heroes. Then again, I don't even think he likes All Might anymore. Thanks to, well, us showing him and talking about the Gravity Queen. I think he finds the Gravity Queen more interesting. I mean, in my opinion, who wouldn't? Her story is amazing. And what she does and what she did is truly inspiring. So I really don't blame people. I don't really blame Katsuki for passing out. Because she's been a huge inspiration with people everywhere. If they like to believe it or not. We can all, at some point, contribute modern hero society to how she was. As Matsuru then tell Mitsuki, just take him inside. I'll start teaching Cat the basics of Japanese so she can somewhat converse with all of us. Because Japanese is a lot easier than learning Hexville. Since Hexville, you need to know the ins and outs of Spanish and Italian, French, and a little bit of German I've seen. So it might be better if I teach her Japanese instead of us learning Hexville. Me too, then yeah, I agree with that. As Matsuru then speak in Hexville, saying like, Cat, sorry they didn't interact. Sorry that my son's. Sorry you had a weird interaction with my son. I told him about you being the Gravity Queen, if you don't mind. Kasa said, no need, I don't mind at all. Why did he pass out, by the way? Well, it's kind of natural when you meet your hero, right? Cat would then just be getting confused, saying like, wait, I'm his hero? Yes, you are. Oh, motherfucker. Just kill me. But yeah. Bakugo, understandably, would about a couple hours later, Matsuru showed Cat where to go and where her room is, which is the attic, because they assumed she would like huge space. Especially since there's been no records of where the Gravity Queen actually lived. But at the same time, though, there's a lot of things you can do. Cat then explains that she's really not the only gravity shifter to Mitsuki who didn't really believe in the rumors of Raven. She didn't really believe in the rumors of Raven. But no one really did, because Raven was kind of underground in a way. But everyone did love her. Just as much. But yeah, just as much as the others. But what set apart Raven from Cat is that Cat did things Raven did things that Cat wouldn't, like kill. Cat would just disable. But she wouldn't tell Matsuru that. Thanks for what he's told her about this new society that was built upon her foundations. Now, of course, learning about this new society built around the old principles of, her little vigilantism would make her extremely, extremely happy. To the point that she would jump up and hug Matsuru, saying to Hexville that I'm happy that people still remember me, even after all this time. This would make Matsuru happy, seeing her happy. As you would say, it's okay, Cat. No one will forget a great hero like you. Then again, no one really knows how Hero Society came to be in the first place, so only really us historians know about you nowadays. And we're not really allowed to teach it in Hero Society due to regulations about the history of Hero Society. Seeing how nowadays vigilantes are looked upon as murderers, as criminals. And they learned about the first hero in history. The first hero with a quirk was a vigilante. How do you think the public would react? As Cat's like, it would be the same situation as me at first. How I was hated by everyone. Because I was different. So I understand completely. Though I'm sad. I am extremely sad that I can't really discuss it. But I guess I can disguise myself as especially the Katsuki the Bakugo family, as a direct descendant of me, and say that I inherited her powers. As Matsuru said, as he would just do the classic fist into hand movement, saying I got it. That works perfectly. Your name will be Cat Bakugo from now on. You're Bakugo's long lost sister. We were visiting Japan, or we were visiting we were visiting France, and we got separated. You were kidnapped by a villain, we can say, and that you were saved by one of the French heroes. I'll get All Might to pull some strings about that. You were saved by some French heroes, and they've raised you. Then you came back to Japan, learning about when your family told you about your real last name, being Bakugo. So you came to Japan to look for them. As then Matsuru then say, and also, we're gonna need you to get you new clothes anyways. Just tell us what size you are and we'll buy you some. AKA, she'll have her village wear, which is her white tank top and black short shorts. And the little winter outfit stuff you see on the left side. Because I see that is a really good fan art. She would then nod, and then she would say, I have to learn this language and this French, you say, to keep this cover story up. As Masuru then saying, yeah, you're lucky I'm a translator and historian. I'll teach you. As then we skip to Bakugo's junior year, because he was a freshman, so a year and a half later. The end of his junior year. Or third year in high school, for you non-Americans. He would get home and see, well, Cat, as he would say, hey, Cat, when are you coming to school? It's like, I'll be joining you next year. This will be basically when my cover story appears. All Might Ray has a big press conference planned about how a kid that was kidnapped by a villain finally found her way back home. A kid kidnapped by a villain 16 years ago was finally saved, and she found her way back to her family. And that she's that the Bakugo family are descendants of the first hero. As Katsuki is like, oh, more press, great. It's like I already have that thanks to the incident with me and my friend. Oh, you mean that little slime incident that I saw? Yeah, I really hate it. God, I really hate doing the Bakugo voice. That kills your throat. Damn, I don't have time to get anything to drink, too. And people are asleep, so I don't want to wake them up. So, I'm just going to record probably an extra part of this. So, I'll end it off right here for right now. I will be recording the next one literally 2 minutes afterwards. Well, I'll see you guys temporarily.